I am so excited about this morning. I have the awesome privilege of taking the place of Lynette this morning as we get this call started. And I want to introduce her. Lynette is the owner of Virtually Yours. She's also the founder of Saving Our Youth. She also participated and wrote with the #1 bestseller book, Mission Impossible, with the amazing Les Brown and George Frazier. It is my honor, Lynette, to bring you to the call. Lynette, are you out there?
Good morning. Thank you, Michelle. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Momentum Mondays. I am Lynette Rogers, and I'm honored to sit in and host the call this morning. Our fearless leader, Miss Jill Green, is miles in the sky on business, and we are steering the call this morning. Momentum Mondays, the call is designed to wake you up, shake you up, and take you up to new levels in your life, your career, business, and dreams. What is momentum? It propels you forward in life, and without it, success is difficult. Who is this Monday broadcast for? Everybody. If you are a stay-at-home parent, a 9-to-5er, a career professional, entrepreneur, a student, if you're in between jobs or a blessing, a man or a woman, this broadcast was designed with you in mind. And I'm going to introduce a few of my amazing co-hosts. First up, Mr. Bishop Dickie Robbins. He's the pastor of Life and Christ Cathedral of Faith. He's the visionary of Dickie L. Robbins Ministries, chiming in from Chester, Pennsylvania. Good morning, Bishop.
Good morning, Lynette, and it is an awesome morning to be alive.
All right. And chiming in from Fort Wayne, Indiana, she is the founder of Fort Wayne Girls Rock and Girls Rock Summer Camps. Good morning, Miss Danita Washington.
Good morning, Lynette Rogers. Welcome, everybody.
All right, and you heard her amazing voice this morning, welcoming each and every one of you to the call, all the way from Newark, Delaware. She is the founder of Michelle Marie Fashion Agency and the visionary of Women of More campaign. Happy Monday. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning, Lynette. You know I'm ready. Woo!
All right. Well, we will be right here every Monday morning to make sure your Mondays are never the same. Please take a second right now and join our Momentum Monday discussion group on Facebook. This is where you can post your comments and ask your questions. And make sure you hashtag Momentum Mondays. If you're on the call, you can go on the page right now and hashtag I am on the call. Hashtag I am on the call. Well, I am so excited about today's call, and if you're just joining us, you are catching us as we wrap up an amazing series where we've been discussing the power of habits. We've discussed the importance of habits because they determine our success. We have had a powerhouse lineup of special guests during this series. Each of them have shared some of their personal success habits, and today we are keeping the bar raised high with our special guest this morning. I am super excited about our guest. She is known as the Small Business Lady. She is America's #1 small business expert. She is an author, a speaker, and a small business coach. She is the CEO of Quintessence Multimedia. Forbes magazine named Melinda Emerson #1 woman for entrepreneurs to follow on Twitter. Melinda has been featured on MSNBC, Fox News, NBC Nightly News, and in the Washington Post. She is the author of the best-selling book, Become Your Own Boss in 12 Months, a month-by-month guide to a business that works. Good morning, Miss Melinda Emerson. Are you out there?
Yes, good morning. I'm so happy to be here with you this morning.
Awesome, Melinda. We are honored that you've taken some time out of your morning to share with us. We're excited to speak with you. And, in my personal journey as an entrepreneur, I always look to people, especially successful entrepreneurs, curious about their habits and, what made that person successful. And with all the success you've achieved on your journey, I know you have developed some habits of your own, and we would love for you to share them with us this morning. So if you would first just share a couple of your success habits during your personal journey with us this morning.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And I, first of all, have to give a shout-out to Miss Michelle because I feel like I need to take her on the road with me because I need to find out what her morning routine is and what she drinks before she gets on this call because she had me ready to shout just introducing people. So thank you so much, Michelle, for your enthusiasm because it is truly contagious. Now, when it comes to success habits, there are a few that I have that have really helped me transform my life and get more joy out of life. So the first thing I did about 8 years ago is I went to a conference because I was trying to figure out how to stop waking up every morning feeling like I was just chasing the sun, like I was a chicken with my head cut off. And a woman that was there, she wrote this book called The 7-Minute Difference. Her name was Allison Lewis. And I read this book, and in this book she said that you should only have 5 agenda items on your personal agenda every day, and you should try to get those done before 11 a.m. every day. So you don't wake up and go immediately to your computer, to your email, because when you do that, you get on somebody else's agenda and not your own. She said the day before you're going to start your business day, you lay out what your 5 top priorities are, and anything you get done after that, anything you accomplish after that is gravy. But you set up your top 5 priorities because we as women, we're real good at making to-do lists. And then at the end of the day, you feel like you haven't accomplished anything because you still had this big old crazy list. No, that's not what you're going to do. You're going to focus your time, focus your energy, and you're going to teach people that your agenda is your agenda and their lack of planning is not your emergency, right? So that is how you're going to run your day. Now, obviously, for those of you that are still working a full-time job, this might be more difficult. I'm an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for 16 years, so I control my own schedule. But even those of you that are working can do this because when I wrote my best-selling book in 2007, 2008, I was still running my business full-time, so I would get up and every day from 5 to 7 a.m. write my book. So you can still do what I'm talking about. You just might have to do yours before work and in the evening. But you need to make sure that you are on your agenda, that you're not just taking care of everybody else or taking care of your boss's agenda, that you're taking care of your own as well. The second habit I will tell you is that I don't meet with anyone over 30 minutes about anything. If you cannot explain to me what you need from me in 15 to 20, 30 minutes tops, I'm so sorry, but you can't have any more of my time. And I do that for my corporate clients as well as for my staff. I have staff meetings with my entire team from across the country, and we are off the phone in 30 minutes. If you have your agenda set and everyone knows what they're supposed to do and everyone has their agenda and they know your expectations, people will not be belaborious and people will not be laborious and people will not waste your time. And people know this about me. So even when corporations contact me to work with them or decide if I want to work with them, they know they got 30 minutes. And think about it like this. If major corporations can sell you something in 30 seconds, you can clearly explain what you need in 30 minutes. And again, it's all about managing your time and making people respect your time because we get on this phone and, oh, Lord, we want to be on this committee and so-and-so is always late to the meeting. And listen, I don't have time for that. You get 30 minutes of my time, and that is it. And I don't care who you are. That's what it is. The third
Melinda, one second. This is amazing. I just want to chime in because what you shared with us so far, you started off and you said you have 5 agenda items that you get done by 11 a.m. I want to share with everyone, that's powerful because like you said, a lot of times you'll have you're just on someone else's agenda and you're setting the tone. So That is powerful. You also said you want to prepare the day before for your next day. So just for everyone that's listening, make sure you guys are taking copious notes. This is some good stuff. Now, the other thing you mentioned, you meet with people for 30 minutes. If you can't get what your point out in 30 minutes, then Melinda's on to the next thing. So I've heard someone say before, less is best, and if you have to be able to get your point across within the shortest amount of time. If you can expound on how you're able to, what posture do you have, and just share with the listeners where people just automatically understand that you really get people to respect your time.
Well, first of all, whenever someone approaches me to get on my calendar, they're not talking to me 9 times out of 10. They're talking to my assistant, and my assistant will let them know, listen, Melinda only has a hard stop for 30 minutes for you. So they know when they get on the phone, have all the people that need to be on the phone to talk to me, they know. And they run through their program. They send me their agendas or their slide decks in advance so that I know what we're talking about. And, in the great immortal words of James Brown, folks have to hit it and quit it when they on the phone with me. I will not entertain lack of what you want. Do you know what you want? Do you know what your budget is? Do you know what the date of your event is? That's what I want to hear from you, right? And if you don't know those things, well, then perhaps it's not time for you to talk to me. Because usually folks don't even get to talk to me really until they're ready to cut a check anyway. So you figuring out what you want, that's not when you get to talk to me. Because I've got people that you get to talk to for that. You might need to talk to my agent. You might need to talk to my director of marketing. But you don't get to talk to Melinda until we're really ready to do business.
Amazing. I love it. And did you have another success habit you'd like to share?
Yes. I do not spend my time, which is billable, at least $1,000 or more an hour doing $20 an hour work. I pay people to do that stuff. So I don't clean my own house. I don't get my own dry cleaning. If I'm working, I do not pick up my kid from the daycare center. Someone else does those things. And as soon as you prioritize your time in that way, that is when you will be able to be clear about your goals. I personally was someone who, as a child, hated cleaning up. Like my mom used to get on us. I was the oldest kid. I have 3 younger brothers. So I felt like, I was Cinderella, right, cleaning my house when I was a kid. And I swore when I got grown that I would not do that. And I don't. And it's just that simple. Now, you have to get to a point in your life, in your career, where you can afford that. But there's a whole lot of things I would go without to make sure I kept my cleaning lady. Whole lot of things. The other thing I will tell you, too, is that I put myself on my calendar. I work out twice a week with a trainer, and it's on my calendar. I don't start my day on those 2 days until 11 a.m. because I prioritize myself. And on my days that I'm not with my trainer, I'm working out at my house or I'm walking around my neighborhood, but I put myself, my health, on my own daily calendar. Because if we don't take care of ourselves, we can't take care of anyone else. And on an airplane, they tell you to put the oxygen mask on yourself before you take care of anybody else. And we have to do that.
I love that. Now, for everyone listening, that is definitely a hashtag moment. Put yourself on your calendar. I love it. I love it. Folks, if you are just joining us, we are on the line with Melinda Emerson, small business lady. She is sharing with us some of her personal success habits. I love it. You said prioritize your time. You put yourself on your calendar. It's so interesting because over the last couple of weeks, we've talked to different people. People have been chiming in on the Facebook group. And one of the major struggles that people have shared is time management and how to fit everything in their day. And I loved how you said, that you have someone cleaning your house, picking up your child if necessary, doing the things so you can focus on continuing building your empire. I love that.
But let me tell you why I have someone else pick up my son. I have someone else pick up my son so that his meal is hot when he walks through the door, and I cook it. So it's not that I'm delegating all of the, child care stuff to someone else. It's that I don't have an hour to drive to the aftercare place and drive back to my house in rush hour traffic. I'd rather spend that time making him a hot meal so his dinner is ready when he comes in the door. That's why I do it, so that I can spend more quality time with him. And he appreciates that, because my son, when I come back off the road or something, I say, babe, what do you want to go eat? And he says, I want you to cook, Mommy. I don't want you to take me anywhere. So I get it, right? So that's what I do for him. I cook, because there's plenty of times when I have to leave him.
Awesome. Melinda, amazing. I wanted to bring in our co-host, and please, if you have any questions or comments to the listeners out there, feel free to post it on our Facebook group page, Momentum Mondays. Bishop Dickie Robbins, isn't this some great stuff? Do you have any comments or questions for Melinda?
Yes. First of all, let me just say I am totally appreciative of all the information that you've shared so far, and I'm totally in agreement with the prioritizing. I have been guilty of allowing people, especially in the counseling context, take up so much time, and I've had to make adjustments now. In most cases, rather than sitting down and personally giving them counseling, I give them a CD or something I've already taught, a principle that I've already taught, and let them get it from there. But one question I do have is, when you are considering family time, in my case, I'm married. My wife and I have been married for 31 years. There's a certain amount of priority that needs to be given to my wife, my kids, my grandkids. So how do you factor all the family time with all the family components?
Well, one of the things that I do is I focus on being present, right? Because I believe that work-life balance is a misnomer. I think work-life balance, the concept and the conversation, is completely designed to make people feel guilty about loving their work, right? So what I do, and this is actually something that Jill and I have discussed, I am divorced, so I am a single parent. I have a 9-year-old son, but I do have someone in my life that I spend time with, and it just so happens that he's somebody that travels too. So when I get, a weekend that's not my weekend, I prioritize, which day of that weekend I'm going to spend with my friend. Now, when it's my son's weekend, it's all about my son. And I make sure that my day can end on Friday early enough so that we can do something fun, whether it's family movie night, whether it's we're going to bust it out at Chuck E. Cheese, or, whatever it is that is my son's agenda. A lot of times, he's got activities. I feel like I'm a personal taxi on Saturdays between karate and flag football and, whatever else is going on. But I try to be present. And what I mean by that is, when I go upstairs at night, I don't sleep with a cell phone beside my head. I actually still have a landline phone. So if you don't know that phone number, you will not talk to me after 9 o'clock at night. I try to make sure that when I do pick up my son, I'm not on my phone. I'm talking to him about his day and finding out what's going on. There are occasions when things go down and people have to reach me, but I try really hard to make sure that when I'm with my family, I'm focused on my family. I live in a city where I don't have any family, so every so often my mom will have something and she'll be like, you got to come. And I will drop what I'm doing, no matter what other wonderful offers I have to do something someplace else, and I go and I do that and I show up. I think it's about how you show up. Does your family know that they're a priority to you? And when you're with them, do they feel like they're your number one priority at that moment? Because I talk to my son all the time about, Mommy works hard so we can play hard. And then I remind him about cool stuff that we've done. Like, didn't you like going to Disneyland on your birthday? You liked that, didn't you? Well, Mommy's got to go away for a week and work so that we can have the resources to do those kinds of things. And so I try to get him to understand, what I do for a living, and I show him videos of myself on the internet and stuff so that he understands what I do. And it's hard when you are a person that shares your life with people and that's how you make your living. Your family does feel like they're sharing you with millions of people. But as long as you make them feel special when you spend time with them, you should be great. And in terms of you and your wife, as long as you're still doing a date night once a week with her and you don't let anything interrupt that, I think you should be in good shape.
Thank you so much. I thought it was great insight.
Amazing. Michelle, do you have any questions for our amazing guest, Melinda?
Absolutely. First, again, thank you for joining the call this morning, and I am always excited in the morning. So we'll talk. I'm looking forward to meet you in a couple of weeks when I come to your workshop or conference.
Yay!
Yep, I'll be there. I'm so curious, and also I like the way you come across. You're very confident, and I'm sure people may say that your confidence is different. How did you get there where you're just, like you were saying about the 30 minutes and everything, how did you get there? And at any time, and I kind of answered my question, how you don't feel guilty about setting those boundaries in your life?
Well, you know what? I think that the busier you become, the more boundaries you have to set because you'll lose yourself in busyness, right? So, you know, it took a while. When I first became the Small Biz Lady in 2007, I used to say I was America's #1 small business expert, but it wasn't true yet, right? So my book wasn't out. I wasn't doing speeches all over the country and all over the world. I was, you know, doing some speeches, but not, you know, making the dollar figures and things that I was doing. But I also knew, because I had prayed and God had shown me a vision and a dream 3 times to become America's #1 small business expert, I knew where I was going. And sometimes you have to speak it into existence and you have to walk it like it exists already, and then it will manifest. But it is a faith walk. And I will tell you that from 2008 until early 2010, I worked Twitter like a job every day and wasn't making any money from doing it. And in the meantime, I had a brand new baby that was like 1 year old and a marriage that was crumbling because I had a spouse who didn't believe in my vision. When I told him that I had a vision and a dream to become America's #1 small business expert and I thought it was $1 million idea, he said, well, why would anybody listen to you? So I tell you that so that you understand from whence I came, right? But then when you stop making somebody else's opinion more important than your own, something amazing happens to you. And when you pray and you have to be faithful to what God has shown you, see, I'm very fortunate because God showed me what my purpose was. He showed me that I was supposed to be here to help you. He showed me that my mission was to end small business failure. And then he sent all these people to help me. You know, for the first year, I didn't have money to pay staff, but I had 2 women that worked for me for a whole year for free because they said God sent them to me. And one of them was Jewish, by the way. So what I will tell you is that you always have to remember who you are, and then you have to remember whose you are. And then you have to teach people how to treat you. And that's in your personal life and in your business life. So I will tell you that I definitely had dark days. I definitely questioned God. I was like, God, is this really the path for me? But then every time I would ever get discouraged, God would make a check show up in the mailbox. Every single time. And in 16 years, he's never forsaken me. And so that is the mustard seed faith that I walked on, and that is the confidence you hear. The confidence that you hear is I know who gave me the mission.
Mm.
That's all right, Melinda. I love it.
This is amazing. Wow. I mean, I am getting chills over here listening to this. Melinda, you are an amazing woman, and to all of the listeners this morning, we are surely blessed. Danita, I'm throwing it over to you. Do you have any questions or comments for our special guest, Miss Melinda Emerson?
Yes, I do. Good morning, Melinda. I'm so glad that you're on the call with us today, and I'm sitting here just kind of listening, and some of the scenarios that you have described has been a part of my new journey, and so I know this was a divine ordered call for me personally. But one of the questions that I had for you was, how do you balance being successful and single at the time that you were single, and just being satisfied with that, and then also balancing now dating and being single with a child?
Well, you know what? It's not easy, and I don't even think the singleness and having a child is what's hardest for me. What's hardest for me now is that I'm somebody that's a public person. I'm somebody that's Googleable, right? So what happens when I meet people is oftentimes they become immediately intimidated, right? So when you meet someone and they feel like you don't need them, right, because you do a great job taking care of yourself, that becomes a whole issue with, who you're dealing with, particularly if your focus is, dating a man that looks like you. So for me, the thing that I recently had one of my dear friends' husbands said to me, because, I complain about this all the time, that, I can't find a decent man or whatever. And my girlfriend's husband said to me, well, do you trust God? And I said, yes. He said, well, do you trust that just like God delivered you from all of your other things, why wouldn't he send you someone? He said, you have to wait on the Lord, and you and the Lord wear a different watch, so you need to figure out, he probably hasn't sent the person yet because maybe you're not ready. Maybe you're not completely healed from your divorce or from your last relationship, and that's why it hasn't happened yet for you. But if God's never forsaken you, why would he forsake you in that? And I had to receive that because that kind of slapped me in the face when I heard it, But I have to roll with that. And I have to understand that there is more, that God wants me to seek him more so that he could send me someone else to be a protective covering over me. I believe that, but it is very tough when you're in Essence and on MSNBC and, folk Google you and make assumptions about who you are and what you need before they actually get a chance to talk to you. So it's hard, but I just, I just keep it moving. I meet somebody and they don't meet my standard, I keep it moving. Or I meet a man and he's not, he says he's a Christian but that doesn't act like a Christian, I keep it moving, I do not introduce people to my son. My son has met one person who's been in my life, and that's it, because children get attached to people. And if I'm not sure that I really would marry you, you'll never meet my son. So that's just how I do it. And it's hard because I travel 50% of the time, and I have my son 50% of the time. So it's hard to make time for someone. But I can, if the right person comes in my life, which I hope very much for, I will make time. I hope that's helpful.
It is. Thank you.
Amazing. Melinda, I am just absolutely just blessed by your words, just like I know all the listeners are. And we thank you so much for joining us. Before we end the call, I did want to have you share with the listeners any of the habits that you found you had to break on your journey of success, or any of the barriers that you feel keep people, from attaining the success that they desire. If you could share with the listeners just any habits that you found that you had to break along your journey.
Well, for one, I had to start being really careful about who I told my dreams to. As you guys heard me say earlier, I was married to a hater, right? So I had to put him on a need-to-know basis, which means he didn't need to know, right, what I was up to and what I was doing with my time. And the second thing I will say is that you have to change the story that you tell yourself, because sometimes if we don't believe in ourselves or something we did the last time didn't work out, we start telling ourselves this isn't going to work out based on old information. And I want you to know that you need to tell yourself a new story, You need to see yourself victorious and tell yourself about that, because our self-talk is dangerous. Our self-talk is how we let that obnoxious inner roommate start saying crazy stuff. You think you all that? You ain't. That's why he left you, right? Or that's why that last project didn't work out. Or that's why you ran up your credit cards. Remember that? Like your self-talk will defeat you if you don't tell yourself a new story. And I had to do that too, because let me tell you guys, when I first was working on my book, Become Your Own Boss in 12 Months, I thought nobody would care what I had to say, because I had not yet grossed $1 million in revenue. And that was the litmus test I had set for myself. Well, you're not successful if you haven't grossed $1 million in revenue. But guess what? 95% of all small businesses in the world will never gross $1 million in revenue. Now, mind you, at that time, I had been grossing $500,000 or more in revenue every year for 8 years in a row. But because I hadn't hit that magic $1 million number at that time, I almost didn't publish this book. This book that has helped thousands and thousands of people. So you have to be careful about what you tell yourself and what you let get into your spirit, or what mean thing you let somebody tell you that you held on to. You be real careful about that stuff, because you could be blocking your blessing and your ability to bless others.
Wow. Well, folks, on that, we are going to have to call it one for this amazing Momentum Monday. Melinda, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for sharing with us. Before we end the call, could you give us a little information about your upcoming event that's taking place October the 9th and 10th, correct?
Yes, it's my annual Reinvention Weekend Conference. It's going to be in Philadelphia at the DoubleTree at the airport, and I'm so excited. If you guys go to reinvention15.com today, you guys can come to my conference for $97, and you can even bring a friend with you. I'm going to do that for you. So if you guys go to my site, if you guys go to reinvention15.com, you get all the information. It is a weekend. We're going to do a Friday night reception, and there's a conference all day on Saturday. And listen, in addition to hearing from me, I brought in the 6 top other small business expert speakers from around the country, my friends, the people whose stuff I read and I respect. I got Barry Moulds coming in from Chicago. I got Hodge Fleming coming in from Detroit. I got Sweetie Berry coming in from Decatur, Alabama. I got Misty Young, the restaurant lady, coming in from Reno, Nevada. Barbara Pender, the social sage. She's going to get your social media on. And I have Suleiman Rahman, the first multi-level marketing person I ever knew to make $5 million from a network marketing business. So I want you to know that if you're ready to take your business to the next level, if you finally want to start making the kind of money you really think you should be making in your business, then you need to come see me at Reinvention Weekend. This is a charity event. Nobody gets paid at this event. I do this for my fans, and I love it, and I want you guys to come and hang out with me on Saturday, October 10th and October 9th in Philadelphia at the DoubleTree at the airport. And go to reinvention15.com to get all the details, and you can come today for $97. So come and hang out with me.
My goodness, reinvention15.com. Awesome. Thank you so much again, Melinda. Thank you to the co-host, and I definitely want to give a shout-out to Jill for allowing us to hold down the fort in her absence. To all the other, to the listeners out there, we're going to unmute the lines, and we want to say Reinvention 15.
Jumping to conclusions.
Reinvention 15.
Reinvention 15. Awesome.
Reinvention 15.
Reinvention 15.
Reinvention 15.
Reinvention 15.